Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I welcome everyone. Alhamdulillah, we will be starting our fifth lesson in the series of Seeratul Nabi. I hope all of you had the opportunity to look at the previous lessons, just as a reminder. And see, to revise basically. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidil mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Amma ba'du, fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ma kana Muhammadun aba ahadim min rijalikum walakin Rasulallahi wa khataman nabiyyin. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل وسلم دائما أبدا أبدا على حبيبك خير خلقه محمد وآله وأصحابه وأهل بيته وعترته وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. Respected brothers, sisters, and my dearest children, all those who are watching, Alhamdulillah, we are on the fifth lesson of the Seeratul Nabi, and just to recall the last lesson, we have now reached up to the arrival of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, just the year in which Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was born. So this was, I mentioned last week, was known as the year of the elephant, because during this time, the Arabs, the Quraysh, the biggest tribe in Mecca, they did not have a calendar or system. So they used to record the events according to a big incident which may have happened in the year. And they would relate everything to that incident. That, this year, for example, someone was born. It was the year of the elephant, or year of some big event which happened in those days. So I mentioned in detail the incident which took place where from Yemen, Abraha, he decided to attack Mecca and destroy the Kaabatullah, because he was jealous and he wanted people and all the businesses to go to Yemen, to him, rather than they all come to Mecca. So anyway, I mentioned the full detail last time. And he came with the army of elephants to destroy the Kaaba. But Allah Ta'ala had already planned to safeguard and protect it. And in fact, the leader of the tribe of Quraysh, who was the grandfather of our beloved Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Abdul Muttalib, he went to see him, and they asked, why are you here? Abraha asked him, and he mentioned that uh, I have come to get my sheep from you. You have captured and seized all my sheep. I want them back. And he was surprised to hear that. And he laughed and he said that, look, I am here to attack your Kaaba, and you are worried about your sheep. So he said the sheep, Abdul Muttalib said, the sheep belongs to me and the Kaaba belongs to Allah. So I am worried about what belongs to me, and God and Allah will be worried about what belongs to him. It's up to him. So he was surprised to hear this. But anyway, then he started the attack, and we know because this story Allah Ta'ala has related in the Quran with the Surah Fil, where Allah Ta'ala, I mentioned last week, Alam tara kayfa fa'ala rabbuka bi ashabil fil alam yaj'al kaydahum fi tadlil wa arsala alayhim tayran ababil tarmihim bi hijaratin min sijil faja'alahum ka'asfin ma'kul. That Allah Ta'ala Allah selected the smallest army, because Allah Ta'ala does not, he had the biggest army, which were on the elephants, huge, 40, 50, we don't know how many elephants he had brought. And against that, Allah Ta'ala decided to use the very smallest army, which were the ababil, the small birds. And they had small stones and pebbles, tarmihim bihijaratim min sijil. Allah is mentioning that. In fact, Mufassirin, the ulama, they say that this sijil is actually a stone from the hellfire, which is toughened, after burning and burning, it becomes very strong. So Allah Ta'ala sent these birds with this small stones, and 3 of them, one in the beak and in the other 2 in the claws, and they threw that on the army, and it went through the head of the person, then it went through the elephant and destroyed this entire army. In fact, it used to come down probably faster than the speed of the bullet. In fact, ulama, they say, this is the start of the atom bomb. Allah Ta'ala, sent this army of birds to safeguard the city of the last prophet, Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, by sending the army and giving them these small stones, which in fact had inside them the power of an atom bomb. Because the way Allah is describing, ka'asfim ma'kul, it destroyed the entire army and everything turned into ashes immediately. As soon as it fell on them, it turned into ashes. So this is the power Allah Ta'ala used, and Allah Ta'ala introduced this power just before the arrival of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And from that time up to now, we can imagine how much progress has been made, atom bomb and nuclear and this and that, all this power which people are acquiring. The start is from there. Before that, Allah Ta'ala has mentioned in the Quran the stories of many previous nations, and the prophets came to them, and once they had completed their invitation and dawat to them, and they did not listen, so Allah Ta'ala used natural disasters to destroy these nations in the past. You know, like Qawm Ad, this nation where Hud alayhi salam came to them and they were destroyed by the wind, Allah is saying. Yeah. That for days the wind came and it destroyed. And these people were giants in those days. In the same way, in the time of Nuh alayhi salam, when Nuh alayhi salam continuously made the effort and invited them again and again and again and again, for how long? Allah is saying 950 years. 950 years he spent trying to explain to them that you have to be obedient to God and obedient to Allah Ta'ala. But they, in the end, they did not listen. So Allah Ta'ala then sent the flood and destroyed them. So in the past, Allah has mentioned in the Quran the stories of the previous prophets, how they were all destroyed. Like Musa alayhi salam and Fir'aun, Allah Ta'ala used the water and drowned Fir'aun, in the water. And as he was drowning, at that point he accepted. Hatta idha adrakahu al-gharaq qala amantu annahu la ilaha illa alladhi amanat bihi banu Israila wa ana min al-muslimin. That Fir'aun, when he was drowning, and he said, now I accept the Rabb of Musa. He accepted that, but it was too late for him. So Allah destroyed. And some nations, like the Qawm Lut, they were, destroyed by Jibreel alayhi salam, lifted the entire land and threw them back on earth. So they were destroyed. So different nations were destroyed by different natural disasters by Allah Ta'ala. And Allah has the power. But in the case of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Allah Ta'ala brought the atom bomb, created this. So for the future, because this Islam, which was being completed by Muhammadur Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, so before his arrival, Allah Ta'ala created the system of protection for him, which will now continue until the Day of Judgment. That this Islam, which is now being completed by the last Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, so it has to continue until the Day of Judgment. So now it will be protected by Allah Ta'ala. So Allah Ta'ala protected, and the army, the first elephant, which was I mentioned last week, which was called Hamud, he could not move forward up to a point where Allah had decided he could reach that point, but after that he could not move forward. Until then the birds came and dropped these pebbles and stones, and the entire army was turned into ashes. Right? So this is the year where Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is born. So this is the first sign of his arrival. But then other signs also, many other signs are mentioned in the riwayat and ahadith, that because the last prophet is being sent, and Allah Ta'ala is making him unique. This prophet is unique because he is going to become the leader of all the prophets. So, like in the first or second lesson I mentioned, that Allah Ta'ala chose his family, specially selected. And this was, his forefathers were Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, and his wife Hajra radiyallahu ta'ala anha. And then the son which came from he had two sons. Because of the sacrifices of Hazrat Ibrahim alayhi salam and his wife, Allah Ta'ala announced to the whole world that we are going to make him the leader. And gave him two sons, Ishaq and Ismail. From Ishaq, he had a son called Yaqub, and Yaqub alayhi salam became the means of all the prophets up to Jesus, Isa alayhi salam, who came, and they were known as Bani Israel. But Allah Ta'ala again kept Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, unique, and did not send any other prophet in the family of Ismail alayhi salam. He was kept, the second son, he was kept only for one prophet, the last prophet, Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ismail alayhi salam. And there is an incident that we know, and I explained this in the previous lessons, that Ismail alayhi salam, one of the tests was that his father Ibrahim alayhi salam had the dream that Allah is asking him to slaughter him. And Allah has mentioned that whole story in Surah Safat in the Quran. So, big sacrifice, the forefather has to sacrifice himself. But obviously Allah Ta'ala was just testing Ibrahim alayhi salam to see how far he can go in obeying my order and in surrendering himself to me. Right? And he went all the way. That he said, okay, I will take the knife and cut my son, if that is your wish. And he did it. But Allah Ta'ala obviously did not want that. And instead he replaced it with the sheep. And Ismail alayhi salam was saved. Why? Because he in his family, Muhammadur Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is coming. So Ismail alayhi salam, so Bani Israel is one chain of prophets all the way up to Jesus, Isa alayhi salam. And then Bani Ismail alayhi salam, only one prophet, the last prophet, Muhammadur Rasulullah. And before his arrival, many signs are coming now. His grandfather, it is written that he was obviously a leader of the Quraysh and very respectable and handsome, beautiful person. And they used to go for trade and businesses to Syria. Once he was going with 3 of his other friends to Syria on business, some Jews scholar in Sham, in Syria, found out that there are some people from Makkah here. So they came to them and they said, look, are you all from Makkah? So they said, yes, we are from Makkah. So they said that we know, because it is mentioned in our books, in our book Torah, that a child will be born in Makkah who will be the last prophet. And his name will be Ahmad, or Muhammad. His name will be Muhammad. So when they all heard this, they were surprised. So to this detail, Allah had already mentioned about Rasulullah. So Abdul Muttalib said that all 4 of us who were there when we heard this, we decided that the next child we will have, we will call him Muhammad, all of them. Because he is going to be a very honorable person. And then, of course, Abdul Muttalib was very old. So he said, well, I will not have any children myself, but I will name the first, and one of my son, whoever he has the child, I will name him Muhammad. And of course, Allah Ta'ala had already chosen Abdul Muttalib, to be the grandfather. This was all predestined. And that's why ulama, the mufassirin, they say that one thing we have to note, that from the father side and from the mother side, both of them, they actually, the father, he is the son of Abdul Muttalib. Abdullah is the father, son of Abdul Muttalib. And then he leads back to the Quraysh family. In the same way, the mother, Amina radiallahu anha, she is the daughter of Wahab ibn Abd Manaf, and then her family was Banu Zuhra, and then that also the third generation goes and meet into Quraysh. So both of them, they lead up to Quraysh, and then this Quraysh actually goes all the way back to Ismail alayhi salatu wasalam, right? And ulama, they have mentioned that Allah had selected them from Ismail alayhi salam all the way down. None of the men and none of the women, none of the mothers or fathers who have become, who will be in the generation of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they have committed any big sins. Even we look at Abdullah, the name of the father of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In those days, they were worshipping idols, and most of the names they used to name after the idols. You know, Abdul Muttalib had, in fact, 11 sons, 11 to approximately that many sons. In fact, there is a story related to that I will mention in a minute, that he had so many sons. All of them, they used to name after a big idol worship, a big god, that the slave of this god, the slave of that god, you know, Abd Manaf or Abdul Izza, Abdullah, and different things. But in the case of the last son, this is from Allah Ta'ala, that he didn't call him Abdul something. He just said Abdullah, the slave of Allah. So his name was given that. And in the same way, Amina, you see, all the women, all her mothers, all the way up to Ismail, there is a chain of purity. No major sins have been committed by anyone. Why? Because Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the last honorable prophet, and Allah Ta'ala especially selected the entire family for him. So this one incident where the Jews mentioned, and in those days there was also they had some weird customs, and one of them, that if there was a tribe leader who was a big and honorable person, and he wanted to show that he is the big and honorable, they used to say, if I had 10, 12 children, I'm going to sacrifice one of them for the God. Right? They used to have this system, this tradition, which was not common, but just to show the pride that, I had 12 sons and I sacrificed one for God. So Abdul Muttalib had also made the intention that if I had 10, 11 sons, I will sacrifice one. So Allah Ta'ala gave him 10, 11 sons. And the last one who was the most beautiful, obviously, the father of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Abdullah. So he said that now that I have these sons, I'm going to draw one name out of the hat, and that name which comes, that will be sacrificed. Right? So when the name was drawn, the name of Abdullah came. And he loved him so much because he was the last son, and he was very beautiful. And from his heart, he wanted that his name should not come. But his name came. They did it second time his name came. They did it third time. The third time his name came. So now he was surprised. The other family members, they came to Abdul Muttalib. They said, you shouldn't do this. This is wrong. Why you want to sacrifice one of your sons? So they said, okay, let's do this. Let's go and talk to one of the worshippers. in those days, these people who had isolated themselves into place of worship, they were known as the kahins. And these people were, 24 hours, their main purpose was to worship God. They used to remain in their place of worship, and they used to work. So they went to one of them, and they said that this is the situation, that I want to sacrifice one of my sons. So they said, okay, what you do is you put 10 camels on one side and put the name of your children on the other side. Who, if the name of Abdullah comes again, then you say, I'm going to sacrifice 10 camels. Then draw again until his name doesn't come. So they kept drawing his, and 10 times continuously his name came up. This is why it is mentioned that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he used to say that I am the son of two Zabihan. Two of my forefathers, they were supposed to be sacrificed. One is the main father Abdullah, but in the end, what happened? That his name kept coming, and 10 camels keep adding. 10 times his name came, and so 100 camels on one side, and then after 100 camels, his name didn't come. So they sacrificed the 100 camels. So Rasulullah, this is in the background how Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is coming. His history is full of sacrifices, but Allah Ta'ala is selecting him. And of course, when the son Abdullah came, Abdul Muttalib, as per the Jew scholars, he said, we are going to call him Muhammad. Now, the name in the Quran, Allah Ta'ala, as I mentioned last week, in Surah Saf, Allah Ta'ala is mentioning that we have in Injil and Torah, we have already mentioned about the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And in Injil, Allah Ta'ala has mentioned his name as Ahmad. Ya'ti min ba'di ismuhu Ahmad. That his name will be Ahmad. And then in many other places in the Quran, the name Muhammad also appears. Now, Ahmad actually means, the person who is worthy of praise, basically. One who praises in abundance. Ahmad, a person who praises in abundance. Right? And Muhammad is one who has been praised the most. So Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, of course, when he was born, he was Ahmad. And then he praised Allah Ta'ala so much, that's why he is known as Muhammad. So both name belongs to him, and both have been mentioned in the Quran. Allah Ta'ala, like the words I've mentioned, Ma kana Muhammadun aba ahadim min rijalikum walakin Rasulullahi wa khataman nabiyyin. And then Muhammadur Rasulullah, in some place Allah Ta'ala is saying that Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is but one thing which is unique about Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam again in the Quran is that Allah Ta'ala, out of respect, did not, whenever he talked about the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he did not say, "O Muhammad" or "Ya Muhammad" in the Quran, like he has said about many other prophets, like Ya Zakaria, he is mentioned in the Quran, Ya Yahya. These other prophets, they have been mentioned, O Yahya, O Zakaria, and other by name. But in the case of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Allah Ta'ala has mentioned about him. Whenever Allah is talking about him, he's talking about, he's calling him by with respect, not by name. Like Allah Ta'ala is saying, Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu, inna arsalnaka shahidan wa mubashiran wa nadhira. Yeah, another name which is the quality of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, Yasin, Yasin, Taha. All these are names of the Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Allah Ta'ala is using those names in the Quran, but never in any place Allah Ta'ala has said, Ya Muhammad in the Quran, out of respect. In fact, he is the only one where Allah Ta'ala has revealed the ayat of the Quran, Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Allah Ta'ala is saying, Allah Ta'ala himself and the malaika, they are sending salawat, rahmat on the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Again, he has not used Muhammad, Nabi, Allah has used there. Inna Allah wa malaikatu yusalluna ala nabi, not yusalluna ala Muhammad. Yusalluna ala nabi, ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. O believers, you should also send salawat on Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Right? So many great qualities have been given to the Rasulullah. Why? Because he has been selected as the main big prophet. So, so first sign, these scholars of Jews, they mentioned about him in Syria. But then as the time is getting near, Hazrat Amina, the mother of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, she is describing also many things. She said that this child was different. When I was carrying Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he was different because during the pregnancy, I did not feel any pain at all throughout the time when I was carrying him. So, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is coming and he's not causing any pain to the mother. Secondly, she said that I had a dream that when the child, when I'm delivering the child, a nur, a light has come from him and has spread it all over the world. Right? So when they asked for the interpretation of these dreams, the kahin, these experts who always were spending their time in worship, they mentioned that this is a sign that a prophet is coming through you, prophet. So all these signs are coming. Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. There was a person who never came out from the place of his worship. He always remained isolated. The morning Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is born, he suddenly comes out, shouting and announcing. Early hours of the morning, Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was born, and he came out from the place of his ma'bad, place of his worship, and he said, "O people of Makkah, is there a child born today? Is there a child born today?" So people said, "Yes, there is a child in the house of Abdul Muttalib." So he came, he said, "Show me this child." So he came and he saw the Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He turned him, because every prophet had a seal of Nabuwa, of prophethood, on the body. And when he turned and saw the seal of, he said, "Wailul li Bani Israel." And he fell. He said that, "Oh Bani Israel, the prophethood has been taken from you now." Because the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam came in Bani Ismail, in the family of Ismail. So this person, O Bani Israel, the days of destructions are here for you, and the prophethood has been taken. So these changes are taking place as Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is coming. He is the last prophet coming. He is the leader of all the prophets. He is being born, and Allah Ta'ala is changing the sign. And at that time, the big empires, there were two big empires. Roman Empire and Persian Empire. They were known. The king of the Roman Empire was known as Caesar, and the king of the Persian Empire was known as Kisra. Both of them, Kisra, he was, these people in the place of Iran, and now Iran, they were the fire worshippers. They were the Majusi people, and they had a fire burning. It is mentioned from the time of Al-Sasani, 1,000 years. They used to have this fire because they used to worship that fire. And if the fire goes out, it was a disaster for them. And this fire had not gone out for over 1,000 years. This fire was burning and burning. All of a sudden, in the morning when Rasulullah ﷺ is born, suddenly this fire goes off. And then the Kisra, the emperor, he has a dream that 14 of his pillars, if you like, Kingres, pillars of his castle, 14 of them have fallen. And the soldiers came and they informed that this is true, that 14 of the pillars suddenly have fallen down. He wakes up. He's surprised because, and then someone comes and says the fire has been put off. Why? Because the person who is going to tell everyone that only one Allah we should worship is coming. So now Allah is destroying all the idol worshipping and all the fire worshipping, everything. The fire is put off. He calls his experts. These experts were the fortune tellers. They used to forecast the future, what is happening in the future. And they came and they said, what is this? What is happening? He said that the person who will call towards one God has arrived. They inform him. On the other side, the Roman Empire, emperor, Caesar, he has a dream. He sees that people riding on horses, they are coming towards his army and they are pushing away his army and they are moving forward into his land. He wakes up and he asks his experts and fortune tellers, and they inform him that a child is born who is going to destroy the. So all these things are actually happening. Why? Because the changer of the world is coming, and that is Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And there are many other signs mentioned in the ahadith, and inshallah we will keep it up to this lesson now because and we will move forward because Seeratul Nabi, talking about the life of the Prophet and his history, it's like an ocean and so much is there that if we as the scholars have said, that if we use all the oceans as ink, Allah Ta'ala has mentioned this about himself, that if you use all the oceans in the ink, and if you use all the trees and cut them and make pens from it, and dip these pens into the ocean of inks and try to write about Allah or the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, we will not be able to finish writing. The oceans will dry up and the pens will disappear and all the trees will disappear, but still there will be more to write about Allah and the Rasulullah because they are worthy of so much praise. So inshallah, we will continue the next lesson. I want to end it here. If you have any questions, inshallah, you can, you have all connection with WhatsApp. you can send me the questions, and inshallah I will try to cover them in the next lesson, inshallah. So here we will end it, and I'm going to inshallah send you the audio of this lesson, and so that we can inshallah, you can watch it one more time with your children. This will be useful inshallah for until the next lesson. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى ال سيدنا مولانا محمد وسلم. سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد ان لا اله الا انت نستغفرك ونتوب اليك سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.